in Kenya, they have the same process. But what happens, they have your ID, they have your particulars, they will continue monitoring you using your transcript, your ID. They do not retain your transcript.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and colleagues. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the team led by the chair for the good work done. Madam Speaker, I've been on the Committee of Education since 10th Parliament. And we have been interacting with the public universities. And I want to give this information. In the last interaction, the National Council for Education gave us the statistics of the universities we have. Public universities, as by that date, there are 9 public universities. Private universities, there are around 40. So we are talking about around 50 universities, both public and private. And one of the universities, that is Guru University.
There is a procedure matter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, Honorable Itungo is a member of the committee and he has signed the report.
Now, Honorable Alum Santa, whom we are negotiating for her constituency, that is disadvantaged, that has no people getting bursaries, getting loans, he's the one complaining. Honorable Itungo is not in the Committee of Education. He's in Kosase.
Yes, Right Honorable. He's a member of the Committee on Kosase.
No, he said he was giving information.
Madam, I'm giving information. Members, I'm giving this information just for the debate. Now,
so you finish with the information.
Yes. Now, Guru University is on record that in every academic year, 2,000 students drop out of Guru University. Just one university. Now, if you look at 50 universities we have.
Did you include that in the report?
This is education, Madam Speaker, the background of education, because we have been meeting these institutions. I'm trying to show the magnitude of the dropouts we have, and the only leeway has been the loan scheme. Now, when you remove the loan scheme, then you are going to create more trouble because more students are going to drop out of these universities. And the reason for dropout was nothing but the school fees. As you debate this motion, you know that the high rate of dropouts is another time bomb on our side. That's the information I wanted to give Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, the information was good. Dr. Bed. Hey.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, apart from this scheme being used to meet the needs of the students who are not able financially, government should do a needs assessment for those courses that are vital for the economy but are not manageable by students because of their costs and because they are not likable. There are those courses which are very vital for the economy, but they are not likable or they are very expensive. Part of this money of this scheme should meet those courses that are crucial to drive the economy of Uganda. That is very, very vital if we are going to use education as a driver for the economic growth. I so submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, thank you. Moses?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Let me just take this opportunity to add my voice onto those who have thanked the committee for the good report. Mine is just on 2 issues. One, on the skewness of the scheme to science education. The truth is, this particular financing board was initiated to finance higher education, not specifically science students. So there shouldn't be a way of skewing this. Now, when you go to places like Karamoja, where some of us come from, it is just difficult to get students who can compete fairly on the science arrangement, because the schools that are there cannot afford you a platform to compete with on a science scale. So therefore, I am in support of it ensuring that let's cover all students who go for either arts or sciences, and it should be for that. Secondly, it's on the financing cover. When you look at this, it only covers tuition. You find that most of these students are not able to pay for hostel, to pay for books and other education materials. So this still leaves them disadvantaged, and it disturbs their ability to concentrate during their studies. And they have to move around asking for assistance here and there. So it still doesn't leverage them. So mine is, when the cover is made, it should take care of the tuition and all other requirements, accommodation, and all that is included. That will actually give them a leverage to be able to cover the needs that they have. I beg to move.
Honorable members, the issue is on discrimination. Let's not discriminate the courses. But at the same time, will government do everything? The dependency syndrome, let's get this thing out. If we are giving you tuition, you won't even manage for buying those other ones. Solo?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to join colleagues in thanking very much the committee for the wonderful report that they have given us. Right Honorable Speaker, I draw attention on the skewness of the quota for every district. I come from Sabei, and I concur with the committee report that Sabei region has never benefited so much in this program. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I think...
How did you know that she has never been...
I've been moving around, Right Honorable Speaker. I've even requested for the beneficiaries for Sabei.
Now,
yes.
Now, you say you want Sabei region to benefit. You cannot say it has never.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the correction. I feel Sabei sub-region should also be considered, Right Honorable Speaker, because Sabei sub-region is a disadvantaged region. We have had a lot of conflict with our neighbors, and the people are just starting now to get education to get back to normalcy. So I wish to support the committee that we should have quota system such that every district can also benefit. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, I support the issue of removing the students. What is this? Student?
That one.
No. I mean supporting students, these government-sponsored students at the higher institution of learning. We should support the students from marginalized families, those underprivileged families, because now we cannot support children.
Honorable members, what Solo is saying, there's sponsorship, government sponsorship of students sponsored at university. Should not only be from rich families, it should also be from from poor families. That's what he's saying. Unfortunately, the poor families cannot afford to take their children to schools where they excel for them to get government sponsorship. That is his point.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Because in the Bukwa district, our schools cannot get students who can come on merit to the universities. So I think that's contribution, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. I call Laura. Honorable and then Honorable Laura, then Honorable. Please, You're all standing.
Right Honorable, I first thank you for making this committee more active. This is the second week we are getting good report from the Committee of COSASE. I thank you for that, the pressure you gave to the committee. Right Honorable, I am actually confused. I want the chairman to clarify. The chairperson is saying that there was money lying for recruitment and the recruitment did not take place. At the same time, the chairperson is saying that they were lacking staff in the board. What is the problem? They have the money for recruitment, but at the same time, they don't have the staff who are actually key position to make sure the implementation should take place. And therefore, that means there is a problem that needs to be corrected in that board. Because if resources were in place, but they did not recruit, at the same time, they are lacking staff, key staffs which were actually needed to make sure that the implementation should take place. This should be addressed immediately. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, we suffer a lot as members of parliament in terms of demands of people who are poor and they are not in position to get these scholarships. Ideally, I struggled for a student, you will very well recall, whose father is dead, the mother is crippled. To make sure I can get the scholarship, the student even dropped out of KIU, who was doing medicine, and could not really get this scholarship. And that makes us all to wonder, what is the criteria that this board considers in the process of selecting those who are supposed to benefit and those who are not supposed to benefit? And that should come clearly when they are responding. We want to know the criteria. If we don't know it, then we have to go for the quota system. Agree with that. That should be the position of Parliament. And also, I really agree that, if possible, the government sponsorship money that we give a lot should all be removed and gone to this loan system, because that will help the country, not only those who are bright, but those who are poor. We should not create, classes in the country. What is happening now, we are creating two classes. Those who can afford, their students are getting to good schools and also getting the scholarship and also getting, everything. So it will help a lot.
So are we saying that government should make sure that the money for the loan scheme should be availed?
The money for the loan scheme should be availed, and if possible, even the money for government sponsorship should be taken to.
There was a statement that there is no money for the for the loan scheme for this financial year. Now, the House is saying we need money for the loan scheme because it is only that loan scheme that helps our poor children to be able to go to school. So we need that money to be provided for. Ibanda?
Madam Speaker, you had given me the opportunity after Honorable Oko.
I wasn't seeing you.
I'm here. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to thank the Committee on COSASE, especially for raising the issues for students with disabilities. And I'd like to add that while Madam Speaker, you said you want the government to pay tuition and other things, I want to say that for students with disabilities, for example, the blind, a braille machine is about 6 million shillings for the blind student.
The disabilities are exceptional.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
The rest, you cannot say that you want
everything. Yes, Madam Speaker, also for the deaf, you know how much you pay the sign language interpreters for the Honorable Ndezi, and I know that a poor disabled student cannot afford a sign language interpreter.
Honorable Laura, but there is a difference between people with a disability and the normal people. You're not going to tell government. Government provide even books.
Madam Speaker, I'm not talking about books, because the information I have as a person who represents people with disabilities is that even the report has mentioned that students have benefited, but they fall out because they can't afford the braille machines for the blind, they can't afford to pay for sign language interpreters, and this is what I am putting across. I'm not talking about books, because
I think as what the report is saying, that they should give a grant to persons with a disability to cover all those other things.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
And
The
I want
issue-
to thank the members with disabilities, Honorable Mpindi Bumali and Achan Joyce, because I know they did a good job to bring that into the report regarding
No, you
students with
should thank
disabilities.
the whole house because the whole house is in support.
I thank you and I thank the whole House, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Ibanda, Propua, I am coming this side, starting with the Amero.
Thank you so much, the Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I also want to thank the Chair and the committee members. This is a very, very wonderful report. The Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I don't know if government really attaches a lot of value with issues of education. Especially this was a scheme that was meant to help the poor. And if these people have made their budget, and you find out of 32 billion, they are only giving 16, and a shortfall of 15. My question is government really attaching a lot of value? It's not attaching value at all. So, the Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted us as Parliament to reign over Minister of Finance. If really there is money that is supposed to be paid by this to these people, why do they pay? It's so disturbing. So I call upon Parliament through the Right Honorable Speaker that if there was money meant to help the poor people, the poor students, these monies should be given. And two, it's on staffing gaps. And in staffing gaps, we find that they lack critical staff, like manager, loans, manager, scholarship. Really, when you lack such a staff in an entity, how do you expect the entity to operate? I think the Minister of Public Service, the Honorable Speaker, should give these people go ahead so that they recruit for the smooth running of this scheme. And lastly, it's on selection. The Right Honorable Speaker, the selection, I usually see the rich people, the sons and daughters of rich people getting sponsorship, which is so disturbing. You find a son and a daughter, like my son or daughter, being sponsored. Whereas we have poor people in Uganda, their children are willing, have the heart of studying, but they don't have the means, they don't have the money. So this also should be streamlined, so that those who are intended to get these services, especially the poor families, they should get these services. I thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank honorable colleagues who have raised the voice of the poor people in this House. Right Honorable Speaker, this government is committed to transforming this country. That's why they have set in motion the parish development model to transform the ordinary person, the poor person who lives in rural villages. I'm proposing that this scheme, government sponsorship scheme, government loan scheme, should follow the parish development model, where government increases the number of students it is sponsoring to go to every parish, such that we avoid a situation where you will have people in Kabong never benefiting from this scheme, where you would have a situation people from my place missing a complete year with no student benefiting from the 4,000. Maybe for the benefit of this House, honorable members need to know that the number being sponsored is very small, because every year they are sponsoring 4,000. If you multiply it in the 20 years, that's a laughable number. is 4,000. 4,000 that government sponsors. Yeah, that's a laughable number. If you talk about those who are benefiting from the loan scheme, the 1,500. 1,500, that's a laughable. Right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, if we have to address the issue of poverty, you must accept that education is the highest driver of chasing away poverty in our communities. I want to be an example that my father would not even talk about raising 10,000. I remember I was going to do sciences, PCB stroke mathematics at St. Leo's. But my father could not afford to pay 90,000 by then fees. He opted that I go back to the seminary where I was going to pay 20 and I go and do arts. And that's what happened. It changed the course of my career.
Honorable members.
That was not my wish. That was not my wish. That was not my wish. I would want that we adopt an education system that works for everyone, including the poor people like my father by then.
Actually, your father helped you by taking you to the seminary.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I want to refer you to the Higher Education Students Financing Act 2014. When you look at section 20, the eligibility in the scheme, the eligibility talks about the regional balance, gender, socio-economic need. I'm repeating socio-economic need and equity. And equity. So we need to, if we are talking about PDM, then we'll need to do an amendment in the law. We need to amend the law. Propua, we are talking to you that if you want to use PDM to determine the eligibility of members, of students, then you need to amend the law. For now, let's look at what is specified in the law and let's use it judiciously. Yes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to support the report from the committee. Right Honorable Speaker, I was privileged to serve in the Committee of Education the time this law was being made. And we did a lot of benchmarking where we thought the committee would be doing the law was going to help the people. However, Right Honorable Speaker, there's one thing that this House needs to sit back and rethink. We have scholarships, we have government sponsorship, and we have this law. I think as Ugandans, if we have to have a balanced country, we need to go in and put our legs on the ground and say that everybody should go for a loan scheme, because the way things are happening, the children of the rich are the ones who are given scholarships to go out of this country. Nobody has come here to tell us how many scholarships we get. When it comes to sponsorship in the university, it is the children of the rich who go to good schools who can get that sponsorship. The loan scheme is left to the poor person. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the government has given us an opportunity of UPE where our children are studying for free. USE, our children are studying for free. Why don't we make it uniform that everybody should pay for the university education, Right Honorable Speaker? Because if our children, the children of the poor...
There's an order.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Amero is informing the country that we have free education. Can she give us a list of those schools that give free education in Uganda? And is she in order to lie this country that we have free education?
Honorable Namuga, I thought you were a beneficiary of UPE. At least I know you as a beneficiary of UPE. Honorable Mero, don't mind about Goretti. Goretti is a beneficiary of UPE.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your protection. Right Honorable Speaker, what I was saying is that our children, if they are going to the university, if we have to have equity, let everybody go in for a loan scheme so that everybody will be paying. Because otherwise, it is only us, the poor people down there, who are paying, and then the people who are okay, like us, who can sponsor our children, are benefiting from the scholarships because we have access to go to those offices to have our children there. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I am proposing that we should amend the law that the university education, everybody should go for a loan scheme and government should be ready for that so that we all pay together equally so that the country is balanced. Otherwise, as it is right now, it is still the poor persons who are paying. The rich people are not paying anything. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Veronica.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, many deserving students
Whoever
are left
has
out.
spoken will not speak.
Many deserving
Let's have everybody
students.
speak.
Many deserving students are left out because of the process of getting the loan scheme. The process is not clear, more so to the people in the villages. For example, in Bukomansimbi, many students have tried. I have also tried for them, but we haven't been success. Another thing, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm disturbed by the process whereby only science students are catered for, yet there are many art students that can become important people in this country if they are helped. Thank you, Right Honorable
Thank you so much. Solo, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I thank the Committee for COSASE for the concomic report. Actually, it's voluminous. That's what I can say. Thank you very much. Right Honorable Speaker, the government and ministry should create more awareness on how people access this service. For example, in our area...
Honorable members, much as... So, Tinka, get out of there. Stop spoiling our army officers. You get out of there, come and sit in front. What Solo is talking about is a very important thing. Creating awareness. Because most people don't know about this loan scheme. It is only, when you ask Mujuche here, will he tell you anything about the loan scheme? He doesn't know. We need to create awareness of the loan scheme. You go ahead.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Due to failure for the beneficiaries to know, many conmen have turned out to be brokers of this. They go in villages, they tell parents, if you need to access this, you need to pay this and this. And at the end of the day, the parents lose their money. But due to the government's weakness of not creating awareness. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, due to all our weakness, we as leaders, we ought to give out information to the people outside there that is a government program in terms of a loan scheme, and this is how it is supposed to get. You are the voice of the voiceless. You are here to represent people of Bukomansimbi and give them information on what you get from here. Not all of them will be able to come here. Not all of them are able to watch TVs, listen to radios, but you need them like you to be around to take information. Emmanuel?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are talking about children of the poor. But you will be surprised that this scheme is equally now benefiting mainly children of the rich, because they are the ones who know how to go online and fill the forms and everything. Our children from the village, a number of them don't know that you have to go online. Personally, I have distributed brochures from the board about how people can apply. But again, that brochure they will read, but for them to go and look for an internet cafe and access and then fill online is not easy. But again, we have also here been talking about equity. Madam Speaker, if we do an analysis for the government sponsorship and other forms of sponsorship that we may not talk about here, because I want to believe that they are there, you will find that it's extremely skewed. We are talking about children of the poor, but we are also talking about regions. If you put that alongside the loan scheme and you put it alongside the government sponsorship, and then you try to map it on the regions of the country, you will see the kind of imbalance we are talking about. Number two, about the recruitment of staff. Madam Speaker, I still think this is deliberate, not recruiting them. Why? It's because quietly, I think somebody is trying. Sorry, just a minute, just a minute, Madam Speaker. Because for me, the fact that they have not been allowed to recruit and yet some money has been put there, for me, I think it is deliberate. It's just that slowly and quietly, without people noticing, some people want to phase out this board. So these are the two issues I wanted to look at. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Milton?
Yeah, thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Dakas, did you want to say something before you leave? No, he has just lost somebody on a motorcycle, so he wanted to.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. My name's, to correct, Esenu Anthony.
Esenu?
Yes, MP Kapelebiong. Last evening, my worker rammed onto a stationary truck and died on the spot. Just got information that even the second person is also passed on. But having said that, I'll just add that this scheme needs to be worked on seriously. I saw that Kapelebiong, only 7 people have benefited. But I'm sure if you checked the 7 people, you may find that they come from other districts. So I want to confirm and affirm that the committee's recommendation that we should have quota should be put in place. And information, I was asking my colleague that, how do you access these loans? Where is the desk you go? So I agree with you that really we should have information made available for the whole country. Thank you very much. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Our condolence, Anthony. Yes.
Thank you very much. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday we were in Aleptong district celebrating the World Population Day. But before that, Right Honourable, we interacted with a number of youth. And we were discussing the causal factors of the high school dropouts. The youth in those meetings did reveal to us that one of the key issues is failure to access loan schemes that are nationally provided for. A number of senior 6 dropouts are there idling without getting access to what we are discussing now. And Right Honourable Speaker, one of the key issues that came out is the lack of transparency by the board in selecting the beneficiaries of this scheme. Right Honourable Speaker, last year, I had 2 candidates from Iganga who did apply. One of them did BCM and got 16 points and applied for medicine at Kampala International University. After getting the admission, they tried it twice to no avail. These are orphans, but they failed to access the loan scheme. And they were advised to try to appeal. They appealed, but there was nothing coming to pass. So we want also, as we discuss the general principles, the issue of transparency needs to be addressed because she's leaving out so many Ugandans who would be benefiting from this program. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dennis Omara. Dennis Omara.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I am raising on a procedural matter on this subject matter before us. One, Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Education just affirmed on the floor of Parliament that there is no money allocated for the program, and we are barely 12 days into a new financial year. Right Honorable Speaker, are we proceeding well to debate how we can cure the defects of the scheme when there is no money? Two, Right Honorable Speaker.
First, don't go to two. Do you know the institution that has powers that does the appropriation?
May I answer? Right Honorable, I know.
I am asking, if there is no money, the appropriation is done by this House. And that's why we are making an order that we need money for this process.
Right Honorable Speaker, what justifies my submission is that the Minister for Finance is not here. That is one. Two, the same minister has said there is no money for...
Government is here. The Prime Minister is here.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right,
you see, members, when you come in late, you need to understand where we are coming from. Okay? Where we are coming in from. Because this is something that was addressed from the beginning. We had to reach a consensus whether we should proceed or not because of what you're raising. But we cannot stop working because you think you're not seeing a person like Musa Asisi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I would want to support the recommendation of the committee wholesale. Right Honorable Speaker, I have only two comments. One, the chair of the committee reported to the House that there is no loan recovery policy which has been put in place. Right Honorable Speaker, I noted that the scheme had taken place for 9 years. It is totally inconceivable that after 9 years, we don't have a loan recovery policy. No wonder the institutions now are just holding the certificates of the students who have not yet fulfilled the payments. So can we have that policy put in place? Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, the inequity about the scheme is also appalling. I have noted that for the last 9 years, the people of Otuke only were able to send 35 students, while Ntungamo sent 488. I am just wondering what criteria, Madam Speaker, has been used. Is it poverty? Is it academic prowess? Is it population? Right Honorable Speaker, there must be clarity in terms of the criteria of selecting those students. But I think the recommendation which we have adopted, which we are going to adopt, Right Honorable Speaker, is on the quota system, so that we can determine the fate of those students in Otuke who qualify for higher education.
You sent 35. You sent 35.
35 in 9 years, they are very few.
Those are very many.
Compared to 488 from Ntungamo and others that are on the list, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, there are places that did not even send. Can I have Museveni?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Protection, Right Honorable Speaker. The Chief Whip is asking me whether I'm the original Museveni.
You give us your point.
Right Honorable Speaker, my concern is on the retention of the certificates of the beneficiaries. I'm asking myself, if the certificate is retained, can one get a job
Honorable
If he doesn't get a job.
Ministers, the issue is on retention of the certificates. Can you give an order for these institutions to give the certificates back to the owners, and then they demand their monies from government?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. That was my major concern on this issue. Since you have ordered, I rest my case.
Hassan?
Thank you.
Hassan Aru?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The notion of equity is of paramount importance, especially when it comes to rurality and rural education. I therefore support the report because it calls for providing funds for the disadvantaged communities. But the Right Honorable Speaker, as much as we're discussing that as leaders and as politicians, as an economist, my biggest worry is that element of the revolving fund, that money must be paid it for other students to access it. We all know that in Uganda we are still challenged by the levels of employment, especially post-education. And I'm looking at a scenario where students have graduated and sitting home, there's no job. My biggest question is the continuity of the scheme, that are we going to be in position to carry on with a scheme, given that learners who graduate sometimes get difficulties in accessing employment. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker.
Alan, you're becoming wiser. What procedure matter do you have?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam Speaker, for the list which have been given to in the report, it shows that in Nakaseke 2022 we have
Is that a procedure?
Yes, as in we have only 3 students who benefited, but I'm not so sure whether really these students are there. They are in this list. There might be ghost students who are benefiting from this scheme.
What procedure are you raising?
So, want it to be proceeded right, to lay the list, the names, the villages, the district, even the schools.
Honorable members, somebody talked about ghost. That was the Esenu. I think he has a point. He has a point, because if you're saying the 3 are from Nakaseke, can we have the list of those students laid on table for us to be able to confirm and make a follow-up?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for that wise ruling.
Vice Chair?
Yes. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Actually, before Honorable Alan talked about it, I was sharing with my chairman that it is important for us to lay on table here the list, the full list for the 9 years of all the beneficiaries, because it was actually supplied to us. Okay. So I've asked our technical team to bring the book. It's a big book which will lay, and then members can look through.
Thank you.
And by the way, Right Honorable Speaker, I took the time to also consult my district officials about the list of Amuru, and I was shocked that actually some of the students were not from Amuru.
What about Bukedea? Honorable members, Hassan had a very good point. As an economist, what is the continuity of this project? This is meant to be a revolving fund. Much as we are giving out this money, how are we recovering this money for it to be transmitted more to other people, to build the number of people who are going to benefit out of it? Food for thought.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, before I thank the committee, I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In Pade, people are rejoicing and birds are being slaughtered. It's not always usual that we have speakers from Pade district come to Parliament of Uganda and meet the Right Honorable Speaker. You don't know what you have done to Pade today. I want to thank you so much, and thank you so much. I'm sure our voters are watching, and indeed they will do the needful when it comes to elections tomorrow.
So the voters of Pade should bring back Pasca, should bring back Komakech, should bring back Santa.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in the same note, let me thank the committee for the good work they've done. There is a report that shows that out of 10 people in Uganda, only 1 works in the formal sector. We are taking our children to study, but where are the jobs? These are children of poor people. In Uganda to work, colleagues, you need to have connection. Don't expect a joke from Pade to know a commissioner, a PS to get a job. It is that hard. And these children are meant to pay back that money. It is training. We want to thank the government for UPE. But these children have gone into Maine. What plan, what policy does the government have? I have one. Why don't we pick these children who have performed very well and employ them? They are going to use the salary we are paying them so that they pay part of the loan and the other take care of their old ones, Right Honorable Speaker. That was my only deliberation. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you. Alex first. Alex.
Thank you so much. Right Honorable Speaker. I want to be very brief. I'm trying to build from the point raised by the committee and the Honora in relation to assistance students with disabilities. The committee made a very good recommendation in relation to provision or setting up a grant to assist students with disabilities, access personal assistance, and also mobility appliances. It's very good. But there is a problem. The recommendation does not say when. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I propose an amendment to the recommendation of the committee to the effect that this grant be established with effect from next financial year. Second, issues to do with the empowerment of disabilities are constitutional requirements under the principle of affirmative action. So today, we have noted that our people have not been benefiting, but one set quota. The quota for the number of students with disabilities. According to the last housing and population census, we have 12% of Ghana's population are poor disabilities. Therefore, the quota I'm suggesting is a mere 10%. Right Honorable Speaker, to be specific, I need your support in including 2 points on the recommendations in relation to students with disabilities.
Switch on, Alex.
The grant proposed by the committee should take effect from next financial year. Second, one set a quota for beneficiaries with disabilities, and say 10% of students shall be students with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Wilson.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I thank the committee for a very good report. Right Honorable Speaker, the bias on sponsoring sciences is in line with our National Development Goals, NDP 3. As we know, there is no society that has sustainably transformed without focus on science, technology, engineering, and innovation. However, having said that, I propose that there be a quota system for that loan scheme, so that District A, if it does not raise sufficient numbers in science, they should not be locked out. If they have arts, they should be taken as well. That is equitable proportion that is envisaged and enshrined in the policy and the act. 2, science students get easily absorbed in the job market. So they pay the money faster. However, Right Honorable Speaker and dear colleagues, this education as a service, strategic as it is, should undergo regular modernization or regular review. It doesn't have to be higher education only. Why don't we extend it to technical and vocational education? Because those get easily absorbed in the labor market. Then they can be able to pay the loan faster. They form the basis for our workforce for the development of this country. I propose, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Wilson, I want to interest you in looking at the Act. The Act does not specify on sciences completely, much as there are orders, there are directives that we must emphasize on sciences. But let's act as per the law in place that you made. It's not being somebody who has done arts that makes me to be a speaker. Yes, to see me.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, today we celebrate 3,025 Ugandans who would never have gotten an opportunity to study at university. Right Honorable Speaker, when I was at university in 2004, reading social sciences, Makerere University, I was paying 450,000. When I do the mathematics here, it means government has spent about 15 million on each of the 3,025 students. That money would not have been afforded by a person humble from the families that we come from. I want to commend the institution, loan scheme board, for the work done, and I pray that we give them total support. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, government policy is not cast in stone. To date, so many has changed. So many things have changed. We are looking at parish model. We are looking at equitability in the district quota. We are also looking at government scholarships on other schemes. Is this the right time for us to review this scheme so that we cascade it down so that all parishes equitably benefit from it? Is this the right time when we need to support fully the scheme to establish a robust monitoring evaluation unit? If we did, I believe we would be getting in real time some of the observations we are raising here. It's my humble prayer that we support this scheme, but we also review.
Honorable members, and as you look at this, I think government needs to tailor the beneficiary criteria to ensure the needy students. We are talking about needy students, not students of yours and mine who can be able to afford. Let it be a priority area. And this should be followed by establishing what the committee has recommended, the quota system, the district quota system. Once you have that, and you have a clear monitoring system, then you can be able to achieve it. Because once you're doing the monitoring, the aspect of saying the people coming from Nakaseke are not from Nakaseke. They are from Kalangala. Will stop, because now you can be able to monitor. So I think that's what we need to do. Yes. Not Sarah.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the opportunity. I'm aware that one of the criteria or one of the conditions for a student to apply for this loan scheme is you must have an admission from any of the universities in this country. And to me, Right Honourable Speaker, that is one of the areas where those students who applied have all the qualifications. Because if you don't have the qualification, you might have not got the admission from the universities. Therefore, after getting all that, the best thing the scheme could have done is to say, who are the vulnerables now to benefit, since all of them qualified to join universities. And if we go by that, we shall be able to, Right Honourable Speaker, ascertain those who need support from government. But if we don't go that way, there is going to be a lot of challenges. Where I come from in Adjumani East, not hardly that one or two benefits from these schemes. And we can give money for this scheme. Only what we are saying is, Right Honourable Speaker, we need this criteria to be addressed and money can be given.
James,
no one in this house.
James, you're saying you need the district to be involved, everybody to be involved in choosing, in identifying the person.
Exactly, Right Honourable Speaker. Because my district knows very well that this person comes from this area and this place can benefit once he or she qualifies to attain this. And that is the only thing we can expect. We don't refuse to give money for this scheme, totally. We agree that money be given, but we need this to be streamlined. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Catherine Joab.
Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for the report presented. Madam Speaker, one, I agree to the proposal of a district quota system in selection of the beneficiaries for the student loan scheme. If it can be done that way, it will save us a lot. Right Honourable Speaker, secondly, we have just been discussing on institutions withholding certificates of beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, I have a case of a student who is doing petroleum geoscience at Makerere University, and for 2 years he has now accumulated over 7 million shillings. He's a beneficiary of loan scheme, and the student is equally very worried whether he would even graduate. You've already made a directive to the Minister of Education to attend to the issue of withholding certificates. I see us heading to the next stage of institutions stopping students not to graduate if the monies are not paid. Madam Speaker, I want to recommend strongly that we need to avail money for this loan scheme to proceed. Right Honourable Speaker, thirdly, I want to comment on the criteria of selection. Madam Speaker, when you look at the loan scheme selection process, mostly the advert is online, application is done online. This puts students at rural areas at a serious disadvantage. So I want to agree with the proposal that the district should be fully involved in this process, especially at the stage of advertising for the for the loan scheme, and secondly, at the, if I may, at the stage of application, if the districts can get involved in receiving applications for the students and submitting to this to the loan scheme, to the board of the loan scheme, Madam Speaker. These are areas that I think will be able to sort us out from mess, Right Honourable Speaker. Otherwise, it's very crucial that we provide funds for the loan scheme to continue. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I think we need to provide, as Catherine is saying, provide funds for this, mindful that most of these schools are privately owned. You get an institution like KIU, get an institution like IU, All those ones, those are privately owned. If it was only government school, then you would think. But even if they were government schools, they have operational costs that they have to meet. So this money should be paid to the owners. Yes, Joab?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, colleagues. I actually wanted to start from that point that also the minister making the institutions to release certificates when they are not paid is also something which is unfair. This non-payment is cumulative.
No, there is a contractual obligation between the university and the ministry.
And the ministry has not met its obligation.
Now, they will still meet it, but
Okay.
what matters is the aspect of time.
I'm also wondering...
And yet we also want these children to get jobs.
Yes, but I'm also wondering why this non-payment has been cumulative. Is it true that the ministry has not had money year in, year out?
Honorable Mbwa, you can go and make a call out. Mbwa.
Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker.
You want to start backing from here. Yes, Joab.
Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, I also support the view that the local governments be involved in the verification. Local governments cannot be involved right from the time of application and so on. But once the children or the students have applied and they have got admission letters, then they can be sent to the districts for verification, just like it is with the district quota system. Otherwise, presently as it is, the intention is to cater for children of the poor. But I have information that today, also, those who are already employed with government are benefiting from this scheme. So this really beats the purpose. And I don't agree with a member who said that the other scholarship scheme of the government sponsorship be scrapped completely. No. First of all, it is not entirely true.
But you can't scrap it.
This is what I had a member trying to insinuate. But it's not entirely true that children from the very rich families are the only ones.
The member was entitled to his opinion.
Yes, yes. So I'm also bringing my opinion right on it.
And it is not one of the recommendations. So it's not something that you can challenge.
Okay, okay. Much obliged. But what I'm saying that the district should be involved at verification. And I don't know whether really somebody who is already employed with government and earning a salary should still benefit from this scheme of the poor. Finally, I feel that the government should have a way of ensuring that these children are given priority when it comes to employment. They can go for national service in the armed force and even in local government. Yes, because when it comes to recruitment to these forces, it is also not easy. Yet there are these people who have given government money and we need to recover that money. So where there is employment, they should be given first priority because we need the money from them. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Honorable Court, the youth, not a court.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I salute the report of the committee. Right Honorable Speaker, it's agreeable to all of us that if the students' loan scheme fails, the consequences are dire, and our people-centered development agenda that we strive for as a parliament will be at stake. Right Honorable Speaker, our country has come too far in implementing educational programs that support underprivileged children at all levels for us to slide back right now. I just have two quick concerns. One is on equity and awareness. They say information is power, and certainly this should be an integral part of this student loan scheme. But I also support the recommendation of the committee that there should be equitable distribution of these loan schemes through the district quotas. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, is on the issue of the continuity of the loan scheme and timely disbursement. Right Honorable Speaker, I raised the matter last year regarding this scheme, that the students that are receiving this support, their support normally goes to the university way too late, and some of them end up missing examinations. And this is a matter that must be addressed. And the continuity of this scheme should be the continuity of the scheme should be non-negotiable. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to support the recommendation of the committee calling government to action, that we need to find the necessary resources to resuscitate this particular scheme so that our young people can get the education that will enable us to drive our socio-economic transformation agenda.
Thank you, Benjamin. Then Biralo.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this chance. Right Honorable Speaker, before I go on, I want to comment on the issue of Ntungamo district. By 2021, Right Honorable Speaker, the population of Ntungamo district was 550,000 people, and the one of Otuke is a mere 120,000 people. So it would be unfair to have the same number of students at the university benefiting from that scheme. Nevertheless, Right Honorable Speaker, just last week we are talking about government policies, the best policies the government developed, but which the government is failing to sustain. We are talking about the issue of interns, failure to pay interns in their medical world. Right now we are talking about the issue of loan scheme, which is a very good policy. Just last week, Right Honorable Speaker, I was talking to one student who missed joining university by a mere 0.5 points to join the medical institution in this country. He hoped that he would maybe join the university on this scheme, but his dream is being shattered by failure to provide money for this loan scheme. So, Right Honorable Speaker, my recommendation would be that really the House and this government finds money to put into this loan scheme so that this program continues and this good policy continues to be sponsored in this country. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Government should find money to put in the loan scheme and put in for interns. Interns still remain a pain. Biraro.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, like everybody is saying, I felt touched and cheated when I found Buhweju was not benefiting from the scheme. Right Honorable Speaker, I put in time and I visited the council and I met with none other than the executive director. I thought at that time he educated me rightly, because he told me the selection criteria does not involve any direct human input. He told me it is done by the computer. And if the computer detects anything that from anyone from a wealthy family, it knocks that person out. That's what I was told, Right Honorable Speaker. Now, when I come here and I find I get surprised. I really get surprised when we find that the process is being abused and the people, the system is being manipulated. Because as I talk, because it comes from the western part of Uganda, we have not benefited. If there are numbers, they are very minimal. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would suggest the following. One, there should be a deeper audit in the system of selection, is it computerized or manual? So that man could have influence. Secondly, the council should interface with this parliament, educate us, so that later on we take them by their word. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Next time, don't write an article about MPs. Honourable Bilalo, next time, don't write an article about MPs. Yes, Sarah?
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to appreciate the committee of COSASE for this report. I will get to some missing issues in the report after I have raised these two issues. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm not going to repeat what has been said. But if you look at this report, Right Honourable Speaker, on performance of Government of Uganda receipts, Right Honourable Speaker, the committee informed us that 11.89 billion was not released, and this money was for continuing students, Right Honourable Speaker. Where are these students? Money was not released, they were already in university, they were continuing. I remember raising this matter, Right Honourable Speaker, on the floor during that financial year 2021, and urging government to at least avail money so that those who are continuing can complete their education. This has remained pending, Right Honourable Speaker. How I wish that we can look further and know what has happened to these students. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, while we may blame the board, the management, 3 billion for operational funds were not released. How do we expect this board to operationalize its activities, even follow up students, when money for operations is not released? Thirdly, Right Honourable Speaker, while we talk about the quota, there are districts, there are sub-counties that have secondary schools but don't have A-level. There are no A-level schools in some sub-counties. I have them in my own district. So, Right Honourable Speaker, as we look at the quota, can we first ask the Ministry of Education to ensure that all schools have schools, A-level schools, but also there are schools without laboratories. Even as government tries to look at science subjects, there are schools, districts that do not have laboratories to support the science studies. Lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, when you look at the report, this committee report is mixed up. On paragraph 5, loan recovery rate. Chair of the committee, I don't know if you read your report. The heading is loan.
What did he read? What was he reading?
Loan recovery rate, Right Honourable Speaker. And he tries to give us, when you look at...
What is different is the heading. The heading
yes. Loan recovery rate. But
then
what
the
is,
table
the table
gives
is
you
on statistics of student beneficiaries from the loan scheme.
Yes.
Since inception indicated that there was a decline. Now you're giving us this. We appreciate that information. But where is the information on the loan recovery, which was on the heading? I request, Chair, that next time, please, critically look at these reports, because this is typed by the clerks, prepared by the clerks. However, I expect you to read this report together with the committee members that signed this report before it comes here. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Okot, Emat.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Madam Speaker, if you look at where Honourable Sarah was commenting and you go to the table, in the last 9 years, you'll find that the scheme benefited about 12,000 students. We have been talking about loan scheme versus government sponsorship scholarship. If you look the amount which government spends per student through the loan scheme, and you look at the amount of money government spends per student through the sponsorship, you'll find that one government-sponsored student could pay 4 students through the loan scheme. If government sponsors 4,000 students per year, and that is converted into student loan scheme system, you'll find that government will be able to pay 4,000 times 4, which means 16,000 students would have been sponsored through the loan scheme. We have been saying here that even those who are sponsored through government sponsorship are students of the rich. Then why not put everybody now through the student loan scheme so that the number goes higher? Madam Speaker, if we go and see the number of students who sit senior 6, every year there are over 200,000 students. And the absorption through government, it is 4,000 plus the 1,500 through student scheme. That means government can only take 5,500. How about the over 200,000? Where are they going? So I think something needs to be done here.
Emad?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I just want to highlight 2 issues which I think is very critical. I don't even know why we are wasting our strengths, our intellectual analysis of this, because I think the committee has done us a favor to expose the problem of this fund. First of all, Speaker, we cannot be talking about continuing with the scheme before we sort out the issue of corporate governance. There is a board, the board which cannot function. There is a board without proper policy. There is a board without proper supervision. There is no loan policy. I mean, all these things. So what is the fund doing? Who is managing the fund? I think this is one of the issues we need to deal with. Secondly, for 9 years, we have seen that this government has spent money on this scheme. Who benefited and who authorized? Because now that means we don't have a legally functional board that can take a decision that it can be accountable for. So the professionalism of the management of finance is not there. It's non-existent. So who are we talking about? Right Honorable Speaker, you are the oversight. This institution is the oversight institution. We need to take action now. And for me, if you were to ask me to give my opinion, is first of all, we have to halt this scheme until we reevaluate how it has been managed. Because really, Right Honorable Speaker, just let me give you, I was looking at this and I thought maybe I'm not reading from a Ugandan record. For 9 years, there is this district called Madiokolo. Madiokolo in 9 years got 4 people, Madiokolo. And then in 9 years, there is a district called Mbarara who got 416. In 9 years, there is another one there, I think who got another 4. This is in West Nile, Obongi. And in 9 years, Ntungamo caused to got 488. And I mean, this cannot be happening in Uganda. When we talk about Paris development model, we have already identified 39%. 39% below poverty. Where do you find the 39%? I mean, let's first, so somebody is not thinking about the policy and how to properly manage this country economically and for the good of the country. So let's rethink, please. For me, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm so sorry, I'm not criticizing anybody, but I'm saying people whom we are put in charge are not in charge. They are not in charge. You cannot bring this report before us. And we have record of 39% of people below poverty level. Where are their children going to school? Who is sponsoring their education? And the fathers of this country, please, the fathers of this nation, diagnose for us 3 challenges to To drive this country forward, whether you are talking about Korea, you have to look at the 3 pillars. Deep, disease, ignorance, poverty. 3. And then you structure around those 3. And then we added on S, dips, which is security. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry, I've ended. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm saying we need to fix the corporate governance. We need to halt this system until we have put our priority right. And these are my contribution, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to submit.
Honorable members, the issue of corporate governance is a very serious issue. We need to ensure that the corporate governance is fully implemented, and then we have a fully functional board. And then, of course, increasing the staffing. I heard from the report where you say there was no enough staffing and better planning for the fund. Now, Imat is a great-great-grandmother who does not have any challenge of any kid going to school. But there are those other people who have children who must go to school, who need this loan. So canceling this loan is affecting the other people who are benefiting from here. Because for Imat is a great-great-great-grandmother. Brenda. Yes? Emotion?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity, and also I want to thank the chair of the committee and the committee members for this report. Right Honorable Speaker, a lot has been said and I am in support, but there was on page 9.
First of all, what Honorable Cecilia Ogwal said, that we cancel the project. Is that correct? Is that what we want? We hold. Is that, will education ever wait for anybody? Will age wait that because you're halting?
Right Honorable Speaker.
But that now justifies what I'm saying. That my Miss Uganda here, Miss Uganda is a great-great-grandmother. Jaja. Please, can we finish? We have actually finished over 1.5 hours on this debate.
Right Honorable Speaker, in regards to stopping this loan scheme, I don't really think we should do that, because we have continuing students, and in the 2023-2024 budget, there's been a provision for the continuing students, 27 billions, although the scheme required 34-point-something billions, only 27 billions was allocated, and it was earmarked for the continuing students and the wages and the day-to-day running of the entity. But the scheme lacks 4.5 billions for the new applicants. And the month of June and July is gazetted for applications. And the selection happens in August. So if this parliament resolves that this scheme should continue, and you issue that this money be allocated, the application can go on. But Madam Speaker, I also support that we need to clean the entity. There's so much that is lacking, and also amend the law. Because although the law provides for regional balance, it never happens. So that means, because that is a creature of this parliament, it must be brought back and we rethink and better the law so that all Ugandans can benefit. And I would go for those district quota system so that we be able to see what happens. Madam Speaker, I want also to inform this parliament, in 2021 secondary school academic year, the district of Nakapilipilit, Napak, and Madikolo did not get any student sit. Can I leave?
There is a motion. But we've not heard from the minister. Lob. Honorable members, 40 members have debated on this report.
Madam Speaker, in the 9th Parliament, the reason why this law was brought by government was because there was a big argument that there were state house-sponsored students who never had the clear criteria how they were picked. Then there was a lot of dropout of students from universities. Then the government brought this law, and they sent a committee of education to Tanzania and Kenya to study and look at how the loan scheme in Kenya and Tanzania was running. And take keen interest on our members. Madam Speaker, let us go back and read about Kenya's loan scheme, read about Tanzania's loan scheme. It is very, very strong because these funds are returned and they're revolving funds. What is failing here, Madam Speaker, is that government has failed to respect the law that was assented by the president and exercise the law as it is. If you read the Higher Loan Scheme Act properly, everything you have talked about here is there. Actually, we reached an extent, as a Committee of Parliament, Madam Speaker, forcing the body members, the executive, that whenever you're going to recruit, write letters to members of Parliament, write to district councillors, everybody to be in know of recruitment of these young people who are going to study. There is no government whatsoever will defend itself where you are paying 70 billion to students from well-to-do families and you are failing to pay 6 billion to cater for students from poor families. Madam Speaker, look at the universities that are taking these loan schemes from the... I don't know whether I'm proceeding badly, but...
the law is speaking.
You take keen interest, you will find that Makerere University, which is charging highly, has a very low number of students from the loan scheme. To Basajja Balaba, KIU, who has decided to take students at lower costs, the biggest number is from there. And that's where the big number is. The only answer we need, Madam Speaker, we sat in the Committee of Education. The chair is there. We invited finance, the higher loan scheme, and education to mitigate, to get funds for this loan. And we said, whether we look for money from education itself, let us look at for wasteful expenditures to get the 6 billion so that this loan continues running. Indeed, we failed. Then the PSST finance confirmed to the committee that they were going to look around for this money so that the loan does not collapse. The moment you don't give this money, it means government must come back to Parliament and repeal the law because it will be non-existent. The law must run as it is. Even, Madam Speaker, where you are talking about to scientists being given priority, it was because the loan scheme failed to get money to cater for all classes. But the law is very clear. It does not segregate anybody. A lawyer will study, a teacher will study. I'm here to attest. Give me 10 children, students who have finished the teaching, and give them to me and you see whether I fail to get them employment in this country. And in the Kampala above all. Because the capacity is there, absorption is there. Even these low staffing gaps shown by the Auditor General in different ministries, it is because you are failing to employ people. If the loan scheme itself has only 3 people to look around to find out those who have not paid, can they manage the whole country? 4,000. But Madam Speaker, as I conclude, let us go and look at how many students apply for this loan scheme. They are more than 10,000. And at the end of the day, they take only 1,000. 35. All these are challenges. As I conclude, let us agree. We passed the law. All the monies that are given to different schemes, those coming from Cuba and other countries, must all be encompassed within the loan scheme. Then the loan scheme is supervised for all our people. Otherwise, if we don't act as Parliament, still you will get challenges every morning in your homes, children coming looking for school fees from members of Parliament. And everybody can attest you have felt this pinch all the time. But the loan scheme was a very good remedy. And we ask you, Madam Prime Minister, go back and sit with the government. Look for the 6 billion. We continue and we correct the mistakes, but not by the Honorable Cecilia that you can hold this loan scheme. No. we
Thank
can
you.
correct basing on the law which was put in place. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
And as we look for the money, we should also scale up on the recovery. Scale up on the recovery, since this is
Madam Speaker,
a revolving fund.
Madam Speaker, if you direct and you wish so as our boss, you let the loan scheme provide you evidence how they were collecting back these funds since we are paying back. But when they went into COVID and other challenges,
we need to have an audit on the recoveries.
the recoveries, but was doing very well.
Scheme.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Can we have an audit on the recoveries of the loan scheme amount? We also need a thorough audit on that. The 480, the 5, the 3. I've just learned that Bukede has only 3. We need to make analysis and see why. Yeah? So government, we are going to have the list laid.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Like I said in the beginning, the names of the students? No. Right, Honorable Speaker. Like I said in the beginning, that we've noted everything that has been raised by the honorable members of Parliament. I want to thank the chairperson of the committee for the good report. This is a concern of everybody. Every member of Parliament is concerned about the poor students who are not being sponsored. Right, Honorable Speaker, the law cannot be repealed like the law is suggesting.
No, the law
you are not suggesting.
The law did not say we repeal.
Oh, okay, fine. It's okay.
Law doesn't
if you did not suggest,
like
it's okay. But I heard.
A law does not behave like that. A law does not behave like that. I have said the law did not say we repeal the law. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
And where it is not cast on stone. Where it states, we shall amend. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker. Government is in charge. And the 6 billion will be provided so that our students continue with this loan scheme and they study, especially those ones whom we are saying that they are coming from poor families. According to our law, Right Honorable Speaker, that equity has been catered for, gender has been catered for, and regional balance has been catered for. It is there in the law. It is there in the law. So,
honorable members, what the minister is saying, the law has provided for regional balance, gender, socio-economic need, and equity. However, if it is not being practiced, implementation is another issue, but provision of the law is provided for. You made a good law.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for that guidance. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm saying that Minister of Finance will come on Tuesday to make a clarification on the certificates of the students that have completed and they have not yet got their certificates. Minister of Finance, together with Minister of Education, they will be here on Tuesday to respond on that issue. Secondly, after the stipulated time, all the questions will be answered by the Minister of Education.
Mr. Kema, let that be a substantial item on
and
the
the
issue
Ministry
of certificates retained at universities.
Yeah, and the Minister of Education, they will be here to answer those questions at the time that is given to them. I think it's 6 months?
By the Speaker. I thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable members, you've heard from government, and we will want, since children are going back to school, we will want a treasury memoranda on this particular report within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So can you lay it on table?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to, for starters, lay the press release which I talked about, a communication from the board cancelling all applications for want of funds, because that's what government is meant to act upon, as you have directed, to avail the resources. And I am laying that.
Dated when? And signed by who?
It's dated 8th July 2023, and it is signed by Michael Wanyama, the Executive Director of Higher Education Students Financing Board. I beg to lay.
Now that you've said we should continue the process, can you direct them to continue with advertising and recruitment? Yes. No. The money will always be found. Let the people be shortlisted. And I mean, if we are not going to do that, then we are halting the business, as Honorable Cecilia was saying. Yeah. People don't distort me.
Right Honourable Speaker, I'm going to direct the Ministry of Education to continue. Yes, to continue with the process of advertising and recruiting the students.
Just a clarification, Hajat. Just a clarification. You are directing the minister, not you're going. You are directing.
Most obliged, Right Honourable Speaker.
So direct.
I'm directing the Minister of Education to continue recruiting and advertising for the loan scheme.
Thank you, Honourable. Please lay the document on table.
Right Honourable Speaker and members, I beg to lay on table the Higher Education Students Financing Board list of loan beneficiaries from 2014-2015 to 2022-2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you so much. Honourable members, I now put a question that the report of the Committee of Public Accounts, Commission, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises on the financial statement of the Higher Education Students Financing Body for financial year ended 30th June 2022 be adopted with amendments. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Can we have our agreement laid on table? Alan, are you around?
Right Honourable Speaker, now I have a power sales agreement for the sale of power at the Uganda, South Sudan border towns of Nimule and Kaya. An agreement which was signed between the Ministry of Energy, Uganda, and the Ministry of Energy, South Sudan. The agreement was signed by our company, Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited, and on behalf of South Sudan, the South Sudan Electricity Corporation signed the agreement, and this agreement was signed on 12th July 2023. 2023. So,
honorable members,
I
let's
said
receive.
July 12th, 1-2. This was when it was signed. Yes, that's the date which is here. Yes, cross-check. Cross-check.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, an agreement, it's a process. You'll find one person assigned today, another no. It has to be taken to, it's a process. Don't just fault the dates. Let's scrutinize, let's look at the agreement, then let's look at the agreement, and then we'll come out with what we want to find out from what has been signed. Honorable members, I am sending the agreement to the committee of Environment and Natural Resources to scrutinize the agreement and then report back to the House. Honorable members,
I wish to lay on that. I lay on the table.
Please do.
Thank you.
Honorable members, honorable members, let me tell you. Honorable members, you have something else to lay? Yes?
Right, Honorable Speaker. Yesterday, the Minister of Energy brought here Biofuels Regulations 2022. And I'm now ready to lay these ones also on the table. Lay them on the table.
That is arising out of which act?
It is, Right Honorable Speaker, this one is arising from Biofuels Bill 2018, which was assented by the President on 4th June 2018,
yes.
And was gazetted in August 28th, 2020.
Thank you. Please lay.
And now the regulations were actually were gazetted on 16th December 2022. So now I wish to lay on the table, I wish to lay the Biofuels Regulations 2022. Here I lay.
Thank you. Thank
but
you.
I also wish to lay okay, I lay. To me, laying is
Honorable members, if the member wants to lie there, it's okay. It's okay.
So I'm laying also.
The regulations are referred to the Committee of Environment. Yes, you continue. Do you have?
I will withdraw the Act 2020. So I've laid.
It's because you're disturbing. Honorable members, we adjourn the House to 2 tomorrow.